let's talk a little bit about this entire block here. So this stretches from St. Catherine Street all the way down to the Monument National, which is sort of right near René-Lévesque Street. So this developer, Christian Iaccarini, he was able to buy out the entire block except for the Café Cleopatra because the mayor essentially authorized him to do this.
Yeah, they gave them expropriation rights.
And, he tried to expropriate anything that refused to go along with his plan to demolish this National Historic Site in order to build an office tower for Hydro-Quebec. And of course, a lot of people fought to save the Café Cleopatra. This is a venue that's been in existence since the 1800s. It's where burlesque really happened a lot in Montreal. It was the first bar that was accepting of transsexuals and things like this. So really a historic place, and really something that fits in very well with a National Historic Site. And so the artists were able to save the Café Cleopatra through lobbying, legal reasons, and so forth. But this guy, Christian Iaccarini, he still owns all of the other buildings on the block on either side of it. So he kicked out the Montreal Pool Room, main exportations.
Well, he bought them out. He managed to bribe them out.
Yeah, he bribed them out.
He gave them money to renovate and take over the new location,
Yeah.
The other guys, I think they just took cash. This guy took a ton of cash. But they all stayed open until the last minute because they were doing well, and that's the sad part. But luckily, the arm twisting got them so far.
Mm-hmm. But again, this is the main National Historic Site, and the purpose of it, at least according to the federal government, it was made into a National Historic Site because it's an immigrant corridor, it's a place of small businesses, and it's a place of entertainment. So what did they do? They kicked out the small businesses, which were run by immigrants, and they shut down all the entertainment, and they decided, let's demolish all of this to build an office tower. Yeah. So it's
in the Quartier
ridiculous.
Because of the Quartier des Spectacles. Well, there you go. They closed the Saints Show Bar, which was up and running in the basement there. Club Opera, very exclusive, fancy club. That's where the hockey players, Montreal Canadiens, were going to buy Coke and stuff in the 2008. That was where all that shit went down. There was Catacombs, a punk bar right there, with shows every night. So there's the irony. Quartier des Spectacles. Oh wait, there's some spectacle. Get rid of it. Johnny, I always love how his refrain over and over is like, the main is about nightlife. It's nightlife. We don't want office buildings. And of course, that's how the fight continues. And Johnny, the owner of Café Cleo, has long talked about buying, if it comes back on the market, buying one of these buildings and starting a brew pub with a restaurant or a terrace on top. I mean, that's the kind of thing that any of these buildings would be perfect for. And it'd be the kind of business that would fit the street perfectly, fit the Quartier des Spectacles, help bring the life back to the block. It wouldn't be an office building, or the more recent I heard from Iaccarini was to have a building that would house one of the faculties of the HEC, the business school. I mean, I don't really see a daytime business school campus building fitting in all that perfectly with, we've got a hot dog joint, we got the karaoke, old land bar there, we got the sex village, we got Clio. I mean, let's be realistic. The thing is, this points to the fact that this guy is a competent developer if he's thinking a business school, if he's spending time and money to try to woo a business school to come on this block. This is the kind of thing that made us warn the city during the consultations about this guy. It's just like, these people have never built downtown. They don't know how to deal with old buildings, urban setting. I mean, they build shit in the suburbs on vacant lots. So, unfortunately, it looks like it's still heading that way. And it's quite curious that even though we're supposedly a few days from the demolition, this character, who usually is very loud and in everyone's faces, isn't popping up to say what he wants to do. The only thing I heard him say was, with an empty lot, his financiers would take him more seriously. So, I mean, hey, great reason. That's why this is such an awful precedent. If the city officially says once again, you know what, anybody's having trouble attracting tenants or investors for their building, we're going to let you demolish it and have a nice, clean, empty lot. What was it? A month ago, the city of Montreal announced they want to do something about all the parking lots. So, again, there's no consistency. It's incompetence, it's corruption, and as a last side note in this long rant, we're considered naysayers by a lot of people. Naysayers, opponents. What, you don't like progress? The past is the past, etc. Where that's such a misunderstanding, because no, I want to see this block thrive. I wouldn't even be against a new building. I mean, to be honest, one of the ones on this block could stand some improvement. What we don't want is blight. You know, we don't want an incompetent developer to come in and just fuck everything up. So it's really unfortunate we get painted as opponents, whereas to me we're proponents, we're pro-opponents. We want to see good things happen. We're not against Iacarini because we don't want anything to happen, nothing new. We're against it because the guy doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, and he's ruining an amazing strip. And it's really sad, you know, like, it's also on a process level. It sucks to live in a city where the Americans just hand some buildings over to their friends, you know? I mean, I think that, all to say, there's a lot of reasons why we're doing this, and pretty much none of them are because we don't want any progress. We don't want to see things happen. I think I could speak for us both in that.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, one of the issues is that this neighborhood was the red light district for the longest time, and now they're rebranding it as the Quartier des Spectacles. But what's ironic about this is that they're actually demolishing any type of vestiges of the red light district, for example, the Cafe Cleopatra.
The Jazz Age, the Burlesque Age.
Yeah, and they're putting up these like weird little red lights. You can see them over there, you know, in front of some of the venues. And the idea is there, you know, it's sort of this Disneyfication of the neighborhood, this gentrification of like, we're gonna like clean it up and erase the real culture, and then we're going to give you a sort of Disneyfied experience. And, you know, it's not just here. They've demolished so many historic venues. They demolished the Medley, the Spectrum. They kicked out Catacombs, Saints, Opera. All of these places were kicked out of the Quartier des Spectacles. And what they're building in the places, things like the Telus Theater. It's like a theater named after a phone company.
It's also useless. It's not a good place. It's not a proper.
No, and you look at the architecture. It's garbage architecture. It's a garbage name, and what happens in there is probably garbage too. So they're destroying the living culture of this neighborhood to put junk in here, and it's
that's the irony. They don't even know. They don't know what they're doing, and they don't realize. They finally realized that in the official documents of Quartier des Spectacles, when they announced it and it hadn't happened yet, they talked about how there were 36 high-profile concert venues in this area. They revised that to 22, I think, on their current documentation, because we've actually lost so many since then, the Spectrum and the Medley and so on. So they really have had a negative effect. And they didn't see that coming because they are stupid. That's why they should listen to people that show up at public consultations, like engineers, architects, planners. That's why there's supposed to be departments that advise them. They actually overruled the Heritage Department, the Urban Planning Department, for most of that. Straight overruling or ignoring of the advice. And then it comes and bites them in the ass. So it's ham-handed, idiotic. They didn't mean to close any of those places, but they really didn't realize the risk. And you know, obviously they dismissed as naysayers the people who warned them about it, but holy cow. You'd hope that they would now listen to us again, but that's not how it works.